I was born in 1894, and it was about 4 miles east of Sutherland, Yellow Bluff, now Ozona. And Sutherland was Palm Harbor. Now, then we walked, boy, my dad, he was in collecting shells. He collects shells in the summer. And he was away, and when we'd walk or go by a horse and wagon into Sutherland, and don't remember just exactly the year, but they changed from Yellow Bluff to Ozona. But I remember walking in there when it was called, they was changing it from Yellow Bluff to Ozona. They had a department store on the bay that used kind of a storehouse, and they run from Cedar Keys down there and swap vegetables of different kinds, usually for watermelons. They get that Cedar Keys. They come down the old flat-bottom schooner. They had to come in as high water. They couldn't make it, no channels or anything at Ozona then, or Yellow Bluff. But the old storehouse it was combination of hardware and drugstore and grocery store. Dry goods, combination for a different business there. That was built over the bay where the schooners would bring lumber or different things back there and exchange it for watermelon. They didn't have watermelon back up in those woods in Cedar Keys, so then Whitford, Dr. Whitford, Dr. Whitford, he bought all that out, and he changed it for and rented them up, made an apartment about this old building on the bay there. And that went on until just a few years ago, 1918. And the storm hit it and blew it down, and it was built out on pilings over the bay there it was on. That was 1918 when...
Was that when the hurricane...
Yeah, 1918. It blew they called it the Narrows. It was called the Narrows at that time, and when the hurricane hit there, it washed through the island. It had been tried several times to dig a ditch through it to establish a channel or a pass, but they couldn't make it. Old Bill and Tinker call him Uncle Mose. It would be the name. He tried it. He homesteaded that part of the island, Hog Island at that time. That was the Tinnies. He dug holes there. He worked there, worked at night mostly, and then made some kind of a garden there, foods, and for grocers or any dry goods. Why, he'd go across in a rowboat with a usually a makeshift sail they call a sprit sail. They could take the mast down, lay it down, and row across when there's no wind. Well, but my dad had he had the old schooner. He had that old schooner Ida, the old flat bottom schooner. But that was when we lived back in the woods there. And he had what they call Brooker's Landing. Now they call it something else. Now it goes into Lake Butler, Lake Tarpon, they dug in. But that place was Brooker's Landing. Oh, we'd go down there for clam shells and fish, redfish, and what you call it, flounders, and just clams, scallops, and mostly angel wings. They'd have angel wings there that's it's long, like, they'd have
That's his grandmother used to make that.
yeah, that's the angel wing.
There's writing on the back of that.
That's the crown of conchs. You
That's
get
old.
crown conchs in that.
What's in there? He cut the stamps all off them. Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
Shell basket, scallops. She
Uh-huh.
get ready to marry.
Ask him for his grandmother make that.
Did your grandmother make that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did your grandmother make that basket?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
she made that.
I
Yeah, that's
see.
when she's made woolman, you know.
Mhm.
I think there's some kind of a right in there. They had that stuck on one of these
Yeah.
Folder.
It should have been. It should have
folders
been.
here, you know, and they pulled it off.
Yeah.
They pulled part of that, so I can't make it. But there's some others there.
Oh,
He told me.
He picked these shells up in Tortugas, and then he'd swap. But these are all native shells here.
uh-huh.
It's all except the
He told me when he
yeah,
was
they was
little,
all native
he
shells,
used to
Florida
take baskets
shells
full of
along the
those things
coast
over
here. See, from
the college and sell them for his grandmother.
the angel wings
Uh-huh.
was they get the angel wings in old Tampa Bay as Brooker's Landing.
He said he sell them for one.
Could you tell me?
Osemar, I guess you'd call it now.
Uh-huh.
Osemar, they changed. I don't know what they changed. There was no roads, no railroad bridges, nothing. It just trails into the place.
Ask him how.
After
It's okay.
they'd have the old steel out there, and they'd haul the old schooners come in there, flat bottom schooners come into Brooker's Landing and along the coast there, and they'd load in turpentine, and they call it rosin. They'd box these old pine trees. They had to be straight and produce gum. They'd make they had and they'd chip these pine trees and then make a basin or something. I can't know what they'd call that, but they'd chip that old trees with. It's just box. That's what they call it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that on the front of pine trees, and the sap would run down into a little
Yeah.
bucket. They call it a face.
He said it was 6 years old when he started it to school in Curlew.
Repeat that, Opal, if you will, please.
Charlie says he was 6 years old when he started to school, and it was in Curlew.
Charlie was 6 years old, and he started school in Curlew.
Yeah,
How far in school did he go?
I don't know. You have to ask him. I don't. He didn't say. He can tell you the rest of that. But I don't know if he's
I'll write down a little piece of paper and give it to him and you understand.
It's a bunch of people names in there.
Oh, good. Well, we'll get a copy of those names that he has given us, and Opal, he answered.
This here has got that.
Pine gum would drain back in those places and fall into this. I don't know what you call it now. It made a box, turpentine box.
I don't know if you want the
It
names
had leaked from this chip to the turpentine
Sister
box.
Kate and Harry.
And then they
Harry and
haul that
Ivan's,
with a
Charlie's,
horse and wagon
father's,
back up across from where I was born.
sister's brother.
It had a turpentine still, they call it. And they'd distill it, getting the turpentine, and then they use, the pulp, call it a rosin. It'd be hard rosin, like similar to wax, similar to wax, but it'd be hard. But they use that, all the threads and stuff, but, they had a whole lot of colored fellas are doing this chipping, They go, you hear them for a mile, I guess it was singing, see, and
Were there very many of these turpentine people around then?
no, there was garrisons and that was our cousin. I'm talking about the cousins there. My mother was born as a garrison in the old settlement there. Well, that was about 3 miles east of Sutherland. Yellow Bluff goes on
I don't know whether you make sense out of that, but then I jotted down some things that.
And the Pulaskis was he was the nearest neighbor. He was from Poland, Polak. And Sawyer, he was from Bahama Island. Sawyer, he never raised a family. They built nice homes there. At that time, there was nice homes. And they was painted yellow. According to,
Everything was painted yellow, huh?
Yellow. And Pulaski, he raised 3 children. Familia, who was the older one, the daughter. And then was Bruno. And that was, they was taking the name from Polacks, those two, Familia and Bruno. Frank, he taken a note, Frank Pulaski, he taken
His whole page of a lot of names on there.
he was warned in there, and he's
Just
taking
I got some on the back of that other thing in there.
Well,
was there was Hollands, Suttons, Johnsons, Pierce, I don't know just what they was doing for.
You mentioned Hollins.
Uh-huh.
You mentioned Mr. Holland.
Yeah.
There's a story going around about you boys put his boat or his wagon in the town hall. Were you involved in that?
He probably was.
The wagon.
They took the wagon apart
Oh,
and put it in the hall.
no,
No.
no,
You weren't involved in that.
I remember that though.
He remembers
I
it.
can remember that.
Was it a
That
wagon or
was
a
some of
boat?
Velasquez and the Daniels, you know, they was mischievous, always pulling some trick like that.
Was it a wagon or a boat?
No, it was a wagon.
A wagon.
It was a wagon. But they was mischievous. That Daniels, they was pulling tricks all the time, and the Pulaski boys too, Bruno and Frank. The Pierces, they lived down near Brooker's Landing. They had a homestead on Brooker's
There's a bunch
Landing.
of the names there.
Okay.
There's old Tampa Bay there, they call it. And the Daniels was raised down there. Merrick and Nelman, all those kids was raised down there, just an old house there at Brooker's Landing, up from there. And they went around, of course, don't know who they were married into at that time. I don't know that, but Mamie, she was older of the Daniels. She made it mache. That was the oldest one. And then was
Amelia?
Maggie.
Amelia?
Yeah, Maggie was out of those Daniels.
That
Yeah.
house was there when we.
And then it was Mary and Elmer.
24.
There was, you know, but their mother was Holland. The Holland was mischievous too, some of those young fellows, you know, they was always pulling some kind of trick. But they thought they was having a lot of fun working those things.
Can you remember the Whitehurst? Any of the Whitehurst? Can you remember the Whitehurst? Whitehurst.
Who?
Can you remember the Whitehurst family? Whitehurst.
Can you remember the Whitehurst family?
He talked
Whitehurst,
about them.
Yeah, I know them, yeah. My mother-in-law went to the school out there somewhere with it. It was, their mama was starting with,
Let's see, what was that man? I can't think of his first name.
well, it was Mary
The one I
Lou
used to,
Whitish.
Police officer or something.
Yes, that's
Aunt Lou, she was, she was
I heard him say something about
mother, a marvel,
Maya.
the first sheriff of this county, see. When the county was divided from Hildesburg.
He was the first one, wasn't he?
Yeah. And
I believe
then
he
there
was
was
the first one.
Warren.
Warren,
He was,
he talked about Warren too.
Oh, he's contracted building and mostly grove overseers. Like during the orange crops, he's overseeing the packing houses. But he,
I had that 1960.
He built-
It was 1902.
at that time, I know later on how it was. But Aunt Mary Whitish, that was Mother Cab Whitish, and they were, well, Aunt Mary and Aunt Louie's sisters.
was Susanna Aunt Mary's sister.
I think you have to think a little bit.
It's okay. Grandma Woolman, too?
Yeah, they must have built both of them about the same time. I
He
imagine.
brought the
Charlie Terry.
Oh, he
told me.
mail
didn't,
from
he
Hudson.
didn't say that about that, but it
Yeah.
Charlie
must
Terry.
be because
From
they
Hudson
lived
down
there.
the coast into Tarpon. And,
What was his name?
Rat,
Rat?
Erastus Whitish, they called him. That was his real name, but he went by the name of Rat Whitish.
Where is those things that Dad
You
told
say he got killed in Tarpon Springs?
Yeah, they shot him from the roof. He had somewhere, they envied him about the job or mail mix-up or something, I think they were. And, oh, I just a little fellow at that time. I was trying to old Aunt Lou tried to tell me about it, you know. She saved his clothes where they're full of bullet holes. She saved them till the house burnt down there to
I don't know about
Arizona.
these
She
cars?
lost them, you know.
Something they wanted, it was way back.
But the old Aunt Lou collected, saved all that stuff,
What
old
is that church there?
watches and rings and what have you. And
Buildings, here's is what we've been looking for, Faye.
Okay.
The dates on it and everything, writing and all. But he's cut the stamp.
her name was Mary.
Yeah.
Her name was Mary Garrison.
That's your grandmother.
Yeah, Grandma Garrison.
Do you want to keep these?
Hey?
Huh?
He says that was Grandmother Garrison.
Okay. No, that wasn't right. Ask him if you remember Susanna Whitehurst Sutton.
Do you remember Susanna Whitehurst Sutton?
No, I don't. I just can't get that straight right now.
Yeah. Let's don't tire him anymore. Yeah, I guess
I can remember Mother talking about it, but I can't get it.